Welcome, everyone. It's Play the Kids again. I am Kevin McCamish of Stumptown Footy and the USL Show, and with me is Joshua Duder. How's it going, Josh?
Doing great, Kev. Nice to be back.
It is nice to be back. The past two episodes we've recorded, I think the first one back in the first March episode, I think that was when I was like legitimately sick. And then 2 weeks later, I was like, I've got to mute on and off because I'm going to cough a lot. And then now 2 weeks after that episode, nothing's going to change. I will still be trying to mute on and off. There will probably be some long pauses because I am still coughing. I don't know what it is. Apparently, there's been a pertussis outbreak at my daughter's school. Obviously, my kids are young. I have the vaccine, obviously, but I guess after 2 or 3 years, it can start to not be as effective. So I'm not sure. Either way, I will still be coughing a lot, but I'll try to do my best. Just as a heads up. Anyway, going forward, if you guys don't know, or you're still trying, maybe you still have that old iTunes feed, go to playthekids.com. That's our website. We have our own website. Use those links. You can subscribe to iTunes. If you did before, delete that subscription, subscribe to the new link. You can subscribe via Google Play or Stitcher. And I have a fat stack of stickers here. If you want a Play the Kids sticker, maybe you've seen them on Twitter, maybe you've seen a friend have them, maybe you've seen us have them, DM either at PTK Podcast or myself at KMcCamish PDX. Let me know. I intend to try to mail out a run of stickers next week. I know that I owe a sticker to Mongols, great podcast in our beautiful game network that covers Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Still have to get that out there to them and a couple other people. So if you'd like a sticker, DM me. I'll get that out to you this week. Let's see. What else we got going on? Oh, we got to talk about coughing. That's what we got to talk about. Pre-sale for T2 tickets and the FC St. Pauli match. That started yesterday, Wednesday, April 4th. We're recording on Thursday. So those tickets are $10 each, and Josh has actually talked with the T2 front office people and has a lot more information on that. So, Josh, inform us about FC St. Pauli coming up.
Yeah, so Timbers went on tickets for T2 versus St. Pauli went on a pre-sale yesterday to T2 season ticket holders. I think maybe Timbers season ticket holders as well, but definitely to T2.
Well, T2 season ticket holders are first team season ticket holders.
Okay, yeah, right. So, you can be one and not the other, but if you're the other, you're definitely the one. I don't know if that makes sense. So you can have Timbers season tickets and not have T2 tickets because you had to opt in. But you can't have T2 season tickets and not have Timbers tickets?
Well, I think the question is who still has T2 season tickets and not first team. Well, I mean, I understand it's very difficult to get first team tickets, so don't get upset and start adding me on Twitter about that. I'm just saying I don't know who would still have T2 season tickets after last season. Basically is what I'm saying. And if you're one of the lucky few that has season tickets to the first team, then you can get season tickets to T2. Those are free.
You have to contact your season ticket rep and opt in on the tickets, and then they'll send them to you as a series of PDFs, right? So
yes.
But it's not automatic.
No, it's not automatic, and you can do it at any time during the season. So like if you're halfway through the season and realize, oh hey, I want to start watching T2. Contact your ticket rep, and they'll just give you the rest of the tickets that are for that season for free. That's
there's some. I mean, look, we'll get into this, the meat and potatoes of it later. They're doing better. This team is worth watching. I mean,
it is.
So the season tickets, I don't know how much they are. I got mine because I have first team tickets, but it's well worth it. And there's some really great teams coming in too. Just the cost of admission to go see Las Vegas Lights is going to be well worth it just to see those kits. So
actually, honestly, I've almost thought about going to Vegas to watch a game there because I think that at home, I don't know if anyone out there has watched a Las Vegas Lights home match, but I recommend that just for the experience, and probably don't recommend being on drugs or under the influence of alcohol when doing it. It will really mess you up.
Yeah,
like they are. They're insane down there, and
it's a good package. Yeah.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know T2 tickets start at like $5.
Yeah.
FC St. Pauli specifically though is not included in season ticket packages.
No. So you have to get them. And here's what you got to do. So the tickets went on pre-sale yesterday to season ticket holders. That pre-sale expired yesterday at midnight. I tried to log in and get my season, or tried to get my tickets for the St. Pauli match, and I was a little late. So this morning they went on general sale at 10 a.m. to anybody that wanted to go. And then I was sort of poking around looking at the seating, and so T2 seating at Providence Park is a different seating configuration than Portland Timbers seating. And so when the Portland Timbers are playing, I'm more familiar with their seating arrangement, but mostly what I'm getting at is there's an away section. And with the T2 seating arrangement, they close the upper level seats. They close them off. And then the seats that would normally be the away section, so we're talking 122, 222, 123, 223, is sort of the far end over by the swimming pool, of the Mac Club. So that far end by the big concrete building. And I was looking at the map and I noticed that those seats were not available. So I'm telling 99 times out of 100, I'm going to sit with, if I'm going to a T2 match, I'm going to sit with my T2 honks. Anyone that's willing to show up to a T2 match, I'm going to sit with you. We'll shoot the shit. But this is one of those times where Josh, who's a St. Pauli fan, kind of wants to hang out with his Twitter friends and podcast friends from around the world, St. Pauli supporters. So I was like, I want to buy a ticket in this far section there. Oh, there's nothing that seems to be directly allocated to the away fans. So, So if you're a T2 fan and you want to go to St. Pauli, you can go ahead and check out the T2 website. You can go to timbers.com and then find the T2 part in the menu drop-down box, and you can find tickets there. If you're looking to be with the St. Pauli supporters, I called up today and said, hey, what's the deal? What can we do? And he said, the guy I spoke with, who is the Timber senior account executive for tickets, Craig, said he'd been inundated with phone calls and they had not anticipated such a large amount of St. Pauli fans who would be interested in sitting together as a visiting group. They were a little surprised.
Well, they obviously didn't do their research then.
Yeah. But, if you think about it, when Newcastle visited, I think there was a good number of Newcastle supporters. I would venture to guess anywhere between 300 to 500 Newcastle supporters. And they found their way over into the traditional away sections. So I don't know how that happened. I don't remember exactly how that panned out. But I know that it's not unprecedented for a large contingent of away supporters. So I think you're right. Maybe they just didn't do their homework, how they didn't anticipate it. But you could also imagine if we're talking about at the time a Premier League team. This was the year before they were relegated, and then they came back up this year. So that's being Newcastle. So a Premier League team visiting is one thing. So maybe they thought, there'd be some supporters, or it might draw the interest of Timber supporters that might want to come out and see this. So, but what we're talking about with St. Pauli is you're talking about a second division German club that's not on television ever under any circumstance. This is not on television. It's not on Fox Soccer Plus. It's not on BN Sport. It's not on any cable. You have to go out of your way to stream it through Fox's Match Day, or you have to buy a subscription pass through St. Pauli's website, or you have to be a sneaky pirate and get on there and you have to live stream it at 4 a.m. if you're daring. I, even as a St. Pauli fan, I don't get up at 4 a.m. to watch them. So for them to not anticipate this was kind of surprising. So Craig said, what we'll do for you is Craig said he's going to shoot out an email this afternoon, and I did receive this email at approximately 4 minutes to 5. This seems, so it must have been like right before he clocked out at 5, and it goes as such. The Portland T2 is excited to welcome FC St. Pauli supporters to Providence Park on May 22nd at 7:30 p.m. As a supporter of FC St. Pauli, you can now purchase tickets in the away support section. And these are sections 122 and 123. It'll be general admission for those sections. The tickets are $13 each and only available to purchase through the link below by entering the promo access code at the top of the screen. The link also waives the usual per ticket online fees. There is, however, a $5 order fee. So you could order one ticket or you could buy 10 tickets, and the total online fee is going to only be $5. Note when selecting seats, if you're given a message that the seats are unavailable, then please contact Craig C. Thompson at timbers.com. So I have the link here, but it's kind of hard in podcast world to share that. So I have the link and I have the promo access code, which is all caps STPAULI. If you need the link, it's at, I think you might be able to find it at timbers.com/visitors. And the access code is STPAULI. No E. Right. St. Pauli. No E. Okay. All that having been said, I look forward to seeing all of you there if you're wearing green or if you're wearing brown and red. Also, St. Pauli fans, if you're listening to this podcast, remember, if you're a Portland Timbers fan, but you want to sit with the St. Pauli supporters, you're going to want to get this St. Pauli support section ticket. Do not wear St. Pauli colors in the North End, even if it's a friendly against an international team in good graces. This is still a rule to do not wear the away colors in the North End. So that's just sort of a forewarning. And St. Pauli supporters, don't bring pyrotechnics into the stadium. This was something the Timbers front office wanted me to make clear in the podcast today. He's aware that I'm making a shout out. No smoke bombs, no flares. You're welcome to bring flags and 2 sticks. All PVC piping has to be hollow, and it has to be at the front of the entrance line. Gate 5 will be where we're going to go in. Gate 5, all PVC piping at the front so that they can inspect it. They're going to want you to unfurl your flags and 2 sticks to make sure that there's nothing crass, there's nothing demeaning, no racial slurs. As St. Pauli supporters, we are already not going to have racial slurs on our flags and 2 sticks, but the Timbers front office has to do their due diligence, and security has to fall through and make sure everything's good to go. So I look forward to seeing all of you there, and you can hit me up, and you'll get my Twitter at the end of this. But yeah, if you need that code, or if you need that link, you can ask me again anytime.
What was that code one more time?
Yeah, that was a little unclear, wasn't it? Let me go back and pull that up again. You can find the link to the tickets at timbers.com/visitors,
which works.
And the promo access code is all caps STPAULI.
So I can confirm that it works.
Yay!
Because I was just doing it this way. So absolutely, Josh, you're going to share that on Twitter when this episode goes live tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir.
Share with all of your St. Pauli friends, all the podcasts, all the groups, St. Pauli USA. Everybody, make sure they get that information. As you said, timbers.com/visitors. Then it's a single field where it says promo code. Put in STPAULI. Boom. It brings right up. You can find tickets, buy those, and not to forget, a portion of the proceeds of this match are going to the IRCO, because both the Timbers and FC St. Pauli are amazing clubs, and they support a great culture. So all of that out of the way, now into the meat of the episode, actual T2 news.
Yes.
So in our last episode, we had one game to talk about. This time we've got 3. And I imagine that we'll probably have 2 or 3 games to talk about each episode, because we're doing it every other week, because both of us are very busy. And I just think that's great, because at the very least, everybody knows exactly when you're getting your episode. Every other Friday, boom, boom, boom. First game is going to be the best game to talk about because it was a win. T2 actually got their first win in game 2, an away win at altitude, a late game winner on top of that.
Despite what you and I thought would happen, almost how I predicted they would lose is how they won.
Oh, exactly. I mean, and so let's get into that. So the funny thing with how that all worked out is if you watch the match overall, it looked like two teams that were actually really good defensively. The attacks, were getting snuffed out. T2's defense was strong. Colorado's defense was strong. And, you're watching it for 75 minutes going, all right, this is probably going to be a 0-0 draw. But that's, that's going to be a good result for T2. Second game in, you get a point on the road, especially at altitude. Hey, that works. But obviously, if someone was going to lose, it was going to take a single mistake, and the team had to capitalize. And Colorado certainly looked like a team that would capitalize on any mistake that T2 made. But to their absolute credit, T2 did not make any mistakes, actually, that entire match. It was Colorado that made the one single mistake, and it cost them a goal and all 3 points. So what ended up happening was in the 82nd minute, Lamar Batista, who subbed on, made his season debut. He fired a shot from the edge of the box that forced their goalkeeper to parry the ball, but unfortunately he parried it directly to the feet of Williams, who literally all he had to do was just tap it to an empty net. Like his goal against S2, it was a keeper error. He's literally right there, and all he has to do is just direct a ball a couple feet across the line and get a goal. And honestly, I don't think you can score 2 easier goals than that, and he'll take them. And this time, instead of losing, that's a game winner. So applause to Augustine Williams there. 2 goals in the season, team leader in goals scored after all these matches still. Because of the next 2 results, but fantastic result for T2. What did you think, Josh?
I didn't anticipate that result, and one, I also didn't expect Lamar Batista to come back this year. For him to not only be, on the roster but involved in the team, and causing some late game havoc. That was great. I'm really impressed with Augie Williams. I'm wondering. I think we might get a lot out of him this year. He might be that guy where this might be his level, and I think we're going to really enjoy watching him play at the D2 at the Division 2 level, at the USL level, with so much quality in the first team at that position. I'm not quite sure if we're going to ever see Augie on the first team. I mean, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Maybe he'll develop even more so, but with Ibobasi sort of going in between the two teams, it's just going to be really interesting to see who fights to get, the backup first team minutes to make that 18 on home matches or U.S. Open Cup matches. So it'll be really interesting, and I look forward to watching the development of Augie Williams.
I think one thing to look out for with T2 this season is going to be Augustine Williams, Jeremy Ibobasi, and Foster Langsdorff, and see which one of those 3 or more of them, maybe one, 2, or 3, see how they compete. Because what's clear is that there is in fact competition. These 3 players know that they have to perform, they have to compete to even have a chance to break into the first team, I think, this season, because I think Adi and Armenteros pretty much have that 1-2 spot locked up, which is why Ibobasi is playing for basically 4 starts for T2. And the formation kind of seems to change around a little bit. Now, with Batista, and we'll get into this later, one thing to note for this match and against the Tulsa match we talk about later, I think he's playing right back. Because the only reason that he would be getting so far forward and getting into the attack like he's been is playing as a right back. And when I looked at his sub, when he subbed on in this match in Colorado, let's see, he subbed. Excuse me. He subbed on at the 82nd minute. So quite literally, he subbed on and then got a near assist. It's not officially an assist, but a near assist, which is close enough. He subbed on for Smith, who was playing the one of the outside back. So which and Batista's a tall boy too. So I think it's, and I mean he's got some pace, and if he can actually play and develop into a right back, to have a speedy right back, who's defensively minded but still able to get in the attack, and as tall as he is, I mean, like, to provide an aerial presence, an aerial threat, that would be quite something if they can do that. But
yes, and but there's also the possibility that there's a couple other things going on. Like as you say, they're sort of rotating through different formations, and so the first team formation right now seems to be what Gio is kind of setting in place here is sort of like, let's start with the Christmas tree, which is a 4-3-2-1, which is sort of it's different than what we're used to seeing, sort of the cliche 4-2-3-1, with that double pivot, and we sort of become accustomed to seeing that and the different ways that a 4-2-3-1 can be employed. But the 4-3-2-1 is pretty dynamic. If you have two of those three center midfielders stay back, you can afford a center back with some height maybe to get in the mixer, or on set piece plays, maybe on a corner kick or something. You can bring that tall guy in. If you sub in Lamar Batista at the end of the match, maybe hoping to get maybe a few extra bodies in the box, that might have been the case as well. There's a couple different scenarios in which maybe he came in that aren't necessarily a positional change for him, but I certainly could be wrong.
Well, I'm not. Yeah, I mean,
the year is young. The season is young, and I think Cam is a much more dynamic, forward-thinking coach. So far, that's what we see, is just switching it up and changing things to be unpredictable. So it's been good.
Either to be unpredictable or actually like setting things up against the opponent. I mean, either way, I am through 4 games actually kind of impressed with Cameron and his choices. He's playing. It seems like he might be playing different formations. It's really hard to tell exactly what they're playing, based on, because again, I haven't actually seen these guys play in person, so it's really hard to kind of gain more knowledge via these web feeds. So I'm really excited to see them in person, and even talk to Cameron and see how they're doing, what the primary formation is, what their stuff is. But it still seems like he's flexible. He's kind of making some changes, but little tweaks here and there, but otherwise trying to keep the team stable, and stability and consistency, and getting good results, a win, and a draw on the road so far, to give these guys an experience of like, this is what we need to do to win. Picking up some experienced players, USL players, not necessarily old, they're 25, 26, but they're experienced in USL. It's really changed, I think, the dynamic of T2, and it's probably providing a much better experience for all the players. Because you obviously can't just throw 11, 18-year-olds out there and pray for the best, and you can't just play 11, 30-year-olds and win the league, because then you're not doing anything. Like, I mean, Real Monarchs, I think they play like 8 or 9 quote-unquote veteran players, guys that really have no business other than playing in USL, and they're only developing like 2 or 3 key players, which is kind of why Real Monarchs do so well. But I think T2 has kind of gone the opposite, flipped that. They got a couple players that are probably USLs, all they're going to do, but they're not old, and then they're developing key players in key positions instead of like just kind of like, let's just try to develop players and the hell with results and stuff like that. I mean, either way, it's a much better T2 team this season, and I think a much better experience overall, probably for those players, certainly as a fan. But of course, we say that, and then we go to the very next game where they traveled to the Real Monarchs and lost, but that was expected. And again, as I mentioned, with the way SLC is set up, they are definitely a top 2 side in the West. They don't play like a 2 side. they're not really set up like a two side. I mean, Sebastian Vasquez and or whatever his name is, and like one or two other people on that team are probably players that the Salt Lake are like, yeah, we'll develop them, and everybody else is just like they've picked up. I mean, they still have Michael Gallagher, who used to be T2, Beasler, used to be T2. They've grabbed some players that just I don't think they're ever going to make MLS, and I don't think the Real Salt Lake think they're ever going to make MLS. And so they're just kind of building this team that, hey, let's just do as good as we can in USL because I don't know, I guess why not? But either way, but despite that, they're a top two side in the West. It's basically Real Monarchs and Phoenix Rising, and then everybody else in the West. So to go there and lose, completely not unexpected.
The score line looks bad. I think they came right out and they scored three in the first 25 minutes.
I was 3 in it was really fast. I mean, what wasn't expected was basically T2 coming out like literally asleep. Like there was not really two teams on that field for the first 30 minutes, I think. It was really bad because SLC scored 2 goals in the first 7 minutes. I remember that. And like in the first 10 to 12, 14 minutes, that ball didn't even cross the midway line. Like the first quarter of that, or first 10, 15 minutes of that first half was literally played around the T2 box. It was really bad from them. However, after that, I think SLC got their third goal in like the 30th or 32nd minute. So they're up 3-0 half an hour into the game. If you take off those first 30 minutes where T2 really just didn't play. They did not play whatsoever. They were completely invisible. They were asleep. It was really bad. They completely lost focus. And again, that's going to happen. This probably will not be the first time they lose focus, either as, portion of a game or a full part of the game. We got to expect that to happen. If you take off that first 30 minutes and you just focus on the last 60 minutes, T2 actually did much better. Now, obviously, it's kind of stupid to say, hey, we lost 3-0 in the first 30 minutes, but we won 2-1 in the last 60 minutes. But the takeaway really is that once T2 woke up, once they turned on and focused, they were actually a much better team. And in fact, played at or near the level of Salt Lake City, which is impressive because, again, Salt Lake City is unquestionably a top 2 team. So the fact that T2 can play at their level for a good 60 minutes away, that is really good. And get 2 goals out of it. Abubasi scored in the 35th minute in the first half, and then Arboleda scored in the 59th minute in the second half. As I mentioned, Velasquez, who I don't really like anyway, scored the 4th goal, I think, later on in the second half, 66th, 67th minute or so, something like that. And then when it was 4-2, that kind of put the game away, and that's fine, understand. But again, once T2 actually woke up and focused, they only allowed 1 goal. So you got to kind of look at it that way. You got to kind of look at it two different halves. The first half where we don't want to see that T2 team ever again. We will, unfortunately, but probably not nearly as much as we saw in 2017. And then the 2/3 of the match that we actually want to watch, where T2 did much, much better. And those goals were actually, pretty good. T2, Abubasi's first goal of the season was really good. He flicked the ball, got a header on it and actually put it on frame. Now it went right to the goalkeeper, who made the save. However, he didn't. He dropped the ball, rebounded it, and Abubasi, staying focused, staying with the play, was able to just slot the rebound into the back of the net. And that's something like, again, with Augustine Williams' goals, where he's paying attention, staying focused, he's on top of the ball, and when the goalkeeper made a mistake, he's there to actually put away the simple tap in. I don't think we've seen that before. And here's Abubasi being able to put away his rebound. So I like the fact that we have players that are staying focused, staying with the plays, and being able to put away these balls that spill rebounds, because that's how you get goals that matter. In the 59th minute, Andre Lewis got his first, I think, assist of the season. I can't remember. Arboleda took a touch. I think it was Andre Lewis played Arboleda over the top of the defense. He got to the edge of this 18-yard box, and then Arboleda took a touch just before the keeper could get the hand on the ball. So he was able to get around him, calmly rolled it in the back of the net. It was a really good goal, good Andre Lewis assist. And those were two things I think the T2 should really hang their hats on, especially going into the last game, the game that happened last night. You could tell, like, from Colorado and Real Monarchs, it was like, hey, the attack, while not prolific, is at least there. It's focused, and the guys are getting goals. That didn't happen in Tulsa. That was pretty unfortunate. So with Tulsa, this is a team who, again, I think they had a really bad season 2 seasons ago in 2016. They're probably gonna have a bad season this year.
It's not a good start for them so far.
No. So this game that T2 went and played at Tulsa was T2's 4th match of the season. It was Tulsa's 3rd. And Tulsa had all 3 of their first games at home. So here they are going into their 3rd game at home, 0 points, and already 3 red cards in only 2 games. So not only have they got no points, I don't even know if they had scored any goals up to this point. I know they didn't their second game because they got blown out 5-0. Their first game, I don't think they got. I think it was like a 1-0 loss, 2-0 loss. I really can't remember. But beside the point, I mean, they got a red card in that one, lost. Got 2 red cards, got blown out 5-0. And so with T2 and the way they had played against Colorado, with the way they had played in the last 60 minutes, sorry. I'm trying not to cough. So the way they had played in the last 60 minutes, I was very hopeful that T2 could get something out of this game, because the one of the players that had gotten a red card in the game before was apparently someone who primarily played left back but had to sub in as striker because their forward attacking core is injured or suspended, and basically have almost no attackers whatsoever. So I didn't expect Tulsa to score at all. They came a lot closer than I thought they would, but they didn't score. So we got the shutout like I expected. Unfortunately, they were very good at frustrating the T2 attack. I think part of that was the fact that the T2 attack was not sharp. They were very much off kilter. They were very much off kilter for that entire match. To kind of give you an idea of how off kilter, the T2 had 18 total shots, 8 of which were taken by Arboleda himself, who was extremely active. He was very, very active, but I mean, after like 65, 70 minutes, you could really tell he was kind of like dying off. He was kind of like losing his energy. But literally, like, I don't know what T2 was doing. It just seemed like the attack was off. Ababasi and Williams weren't on the page. They didn't put their shooting boots on. Everything was going down the right. Everything was going through Arboleda, who had a lot of good chances. But you have 18 total shots, only two of which were on goal. That's a little insane. So, Arboleda and Abobasi both each had 1 shot on goal, forcing the keeper into 2 saves. And that's not good. You shouldn't be taking 18 shots and only having them 2 on goal. Because to look at Tulsa had 15 shots, and a lot of them were not well taken. Really not well taken. And surprisingly 3 on goal. Honestly, I didn't even think they had that. I honestly only had 2 shots on goal. Because McIntosh made 2 really good saves. One of which toward the end was like a world-class save of the week type save.
It was.
I don't even know how he physically got his to the ball. Like it blows my mind. So if you haven't seen that, look that up, because it's literally insane.
It had a bit of a kind of a Nick Raimondo-esque unbelievable sideways leap to it. So
Yeah, I don't know how he did it. You can go to at USL and kind of scroll through stuff from last night because they took a GIF of that and were like, "Oh, hey, at Timbers FC2, we're gonna keep this one for a little while." So it's out there. You can
Yeah.
find it on Twitter. I definitely recommend you watch it because that's one hell of a save. It's even hard for me to describe, but yeah. So you had two teams whose attacks were just disastrous. T2's more so than Tulsa because Tulsa, I expected them to have literally nothing in the attack.
Yeah.
And Portland, I think if anyone had been halfway focused, we probably could have easily gotten 3 points.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had put a couple more shots on goal, I'm sure we would have gotten at least 1 or 2 goals. But it was not good. The attack failed. The defense held out, but again, when you're looking at the team, I don't want to give them too much credit for this one. But we really can't complain because it's an away point. And there's just, you should never really complain as much as I want to. You should never really complain about a point on the road.
No, I mean, just to put it in perspective, that puts us on 4 points on 4 played. Yeah. And so I think last year, what did we figure out? That you needed to average 2 points a match to basically, if you could average 2 points a match for the whole season, you'd be in the top 2, right? So you'd be in contention for at least the playoffs. Where that having been said, averaging 1 point per match so far, we're 2 spots below the imaginary playoff line, even though we're way, 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 way out from that. We're 10th place right now. So, it's instead, in lieu of reading the whole thing like I've done for the last couple of years, I will just say being 10th place is a big difference from 1, expectation, 2, last year. And conversely, that was Tulsa's first point of the season. Yeah. So on the one hand, where you say, okay, we're not gonna, where I'm kind of congratulatory about this 1 point on the road. That's great. Where now we have 4 points and all 4 matches so far have been away matches. Is that correct? So I think we have 1 more match on the road and then we go home. So it's been 5 on the road. It will have been 5 on the road when we're done with the next one. And, even if we get 1 point out of that match this coming weekend, that's 5 points out of 5 matches to start the season on a 5-match away stretch. That's, that's favorable. That's well done. Yeah. But conversely, you've got a team in Tulsa that hasn't been able to tie their own bootstrings. They've had 3 losses in a row, and then
two losses in a row and then a draw. They've only played 3 games.
Okay.
So their first point was the 3rd game against us.
Okay, that's what I mean. Okay, so they've got their 1 point. That's not the team. That's the team that later on down in the season you kind of look back at and go, God, we really should have picked them off. That was the time to do it. So,
well, yeah, especially because, I mean, you're taking 1 point from 3 home games, and now you're going to go on a road trip. So, I mean, Tulsa's not looking good this year, which sucks because they've got good people, good players, good fans, and
sure.
I saw last night a pretty decent coach. At least he's very level-headed. So I kind of feel bad, but
there's only 2 teams that I'll ever wish ill will upon that are in our conference. So
yeah. But so anyway, I mean, again, to be fair, if you look at it from Tulsa's perspective, they're going to think that's a good result because again, it's their first point of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason they were all coming in thinking, oh man, we're going to lose against T2. And I thought to myself, if you're coming in expecting to lose against T2 of all teams, even 3 games into the season, something's gone wrong real fast. And even their broadcasters were like, wouldn't you say that this is one of the most important games of the season? And I'm like, it's 3 games in and you're saying T2 is an important game of the season. Oh my God, what happened? Your club's derailed, man. And I was like, wow. So, it's like, don't feel bad about getting a point. I think it's a good result. We certainly could have gotten all 3. T2 is probably going to regret not getting all 3. But again, 4 points in 4 games, and it's on the road. And if we get a 5th point against OKC, that's a fantastic road trip, honestly.
Yeah. So OKC.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Well, that's a game. But let's talk about some players because
go ahead.
those are the results. I probably didn't really mean to get into too much detail on those. I didn't want to like go through that too much, but I got in a little bit further than I wanted to.
Yeah.
Because I want to focus on players and the players this year specifically, who does well, who does not do well, and I want to start off with Jeremy Ebobisse. He got 317 minutes last year in MLS. Probably deserved a little more, but at T2, I mean, I think he got a goal last year with T2. Maybe got two. I don't remember. But he's gotten his first goal already. 3 games in, actually. No, yeah, 3 games in is when it happened. And so that's good. It's good he gets in there. He's been 4 straight starts. I think played 90 minutes in all 4 games. I'm pretty sure. Well, except maybe this last one. Was he subbed off for? Nope, he played all 90. Yep, played all 90. So I mean, he's playing. He's the one that they're actually putting there.
He's
for
the one
for all 90 because Langsdorff and Williams have been kind of swapping back and forth. I think Langsdorff started against Real Monarchs for the first 45 minutes, and Williams subbed on at the half. This last game, Williams started and played, I think, 77 minutes. Oh, he was subbed off, but he was subbed off for Loria. But Langsdorff played from 65 to 90 against Tulsa. Then we'll get to him in a minute. So Ebobisse, he's getting all the minutes. He scored 1 goal. I would like to see more. Certainly would have loved to have seen him score against Tulsa, get a second goal. But I would say right now, I'm neutral on him. I don't think he's gone down. He hasn't like not improved or what do we say? Reverted.
Regressed. He hasn't regressed.
He hasn't regressed, but he hasn't necessarily improved yet as much as I wanted him to. Especially for a fourth, like a pick, fourth pick in the first round, super draft pick. I'm expecting more. My expectation is a little bit higher. I think he can achieve them. Again, I think it's going to be because he has to compete. If Williams continues to do better, if Arboleda continues to really kind of be on fire like he has been, if Langsdorff, he needs to improve real bad. But so if there's a little bit more competition for him, I think he'll definitely probably get up there and make that next level. But right now, it's more of the same, which is good, but needs to be better. I think from Ebobisse. Like, I mean, he does really good movement off the ball. I want to see him be better and more confident in the attack, more aggressive in the attack. Just to try to get some more shots on frame, honestly, and just get a couple extra goals. So that's Ebobisse. We'll continue to kind of see him, highlight him throughout the season. On defense, player who's been loaned down from the first team, doesn't have any first team minutes anyway. And since we were talking about Tulsa, someone who used to play for Tulsa all last season, center back Modu Jadama. He's been very impressive in the defense. I really like what I'm seeing from him. I would say he's very similar to someone that we were very high on for a little while, who's no longer with the club. His last name rhymes with Bark. It's taking me too long to get to the mute button. So he reminds me of him, except he's not like he's what's the word I'm looking for? Not as doesn't wander off as much. He's not like a ball playing center back. He's a very quiet, the type of defender that you want to have is one you're not really going to notice, but he's always going to snuff out the attacks, and that's kind of what he's been playing as these past 4 games. So it's good. I mean, here's someone who signed the first team. I think that he's going to be playing with T2 all this season. Probably should play with T2 all this season, but I think that there's talent there, and there's definitely, with some little bit of improvement, can be some depth for the first team. Certainly, I see what the first team's seeing him, and so that's good. That's good. I think he's a little bit up each game. Kind of raises my stock on him just a little bit, so I like to see that. Another defender that we talked about a little bit earlier, want to go into more detail, Lamar Batista. He came on as a substitute against Colorado, did not play against Real Monarchs, but was able to start and play all 90 against Tulsa. And again, what I've been seeing from in his substitute appearance and the start with the full 90 seems like he's playing right back. Seems like it. Maybe you disagree with me, which is totally fine. Maybe people out there might disagree with me, which is totally fine. But from what I've noticed, it feels like he's playing right back, and that could, whether that's just where they can put him to get him minutes, or that's what they want. That's how they want to like redevelop him, or they're just, I don't know, trying something different, or he's not playing right back. Whatever the reason is, he's actually done very well. I mean, he literally came on as a substitute, and in the same minute was able to get an almost assist. He got the ball over that the keeper spilled into the path of Augustine Williams, and then in his 90 minutes with Tulsa, he did. I think he did very well. It was I want to say. No, I don't have those notes, but I know he did very well against Tulsa. Again, I mean, he got the shutout as a defender, but I know he was also up there and providing some attack up against, providing some shots and stuff from the right, and that's what you want to see if he's playing right back. So good from there. These first three players, Abobasi, Jadama, and Batista. Before I get to the next three, what do you think? How have you seen these guys play?
I've sort of been watching from afar, just sort of catching the highlights so far. I think one of the things I've kind of I'm interested in seeing. I've been high on Harold Hansen, and he's not on our list right now. And so, I'm interested in going back and sort of rewatching the matches, maybe in their entirety, to look for some of the things that you're talking about. Batista at right back. What happened to Harold Hansen is is kind of my question. And then sort of, if there's one thing that can be said for the team so far, just only 4 matches in, but it's one of the things that maybe is going unsaid, or not specifically said, is the defense is good. I mean, yeah, they got rolled over 4-2 away to Salt Lake City, but that's going to happen. But other than that, I mean, this team is doing something that they were okay. They were okay at doing for large portions of last season, where they were only losing 1s and 2s at first, and then towards the end of the season, it went pear-shaped. But they're holding tight, and those losses have now become draws, and those draws have now become wins. And it's a short season, but the defense is holding tight. So I'm interested in watching some of the defensive players that you've listed, and not taking it for granted that it's for free on YouTube, and maybe going back and rewatching some of those matches to look for some more specific defensive traits.
Since you mentioned YouTube, I'll take a break. Let's take a break real quick. I highly recommend everybody to go to YouTube and rewatch these games if you haven't watched them, because coming up later this year, ESPN Plus is going to come out, where MLS is going to replace MLS Live. It's $5 a month. It's going to give you MLS Live, but a lot of other sports. Rumor has it, however, that USL is going to join that. So instead of being free on YouTube like they currently are, it is potential. They haven't announced anything yet, but rumors, again, with what I've been doing recently this season, I have a lot more inside connections directly to the league office. The rumors are they are going to take this to ESPN Plus as well. But $5 a month, honestly, if it's only $5 a month and you get to watch every USL match and every out-of-market MLS match, that's not a bad. And then plus, like, every other sport that ESPN has.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if they have any any international soccer. I know they don't have Premier League, but if they have anything else, maybe we put all that in there too. And then whatever other sports there, that's a really good deal.
I think they've had a history of, I think, sometimes having the Dutch Eredivisie. They often have the Brazilian league. I think I've also seen the Copas, like the various South American Champions League Cup matches. So, between the teams from Colombia and Argentina and Brazil. And so those are always entertaining. I don't know if that's still something that they have the rights to, but in the past, that's something I've enjoyed watching.
Yeah. And stuff like that. I mean, if I'm already paying $5 a month for USL
Uh-huh.
because I'm gonna have to, and I'm paying $5 a month for MLS because I want to, then everything else is just icing on the
Mm-hmm.
cake. So,
Mm-hmm.
but again, if you're someone that where $5 a month, is, and there's lots of us that where $5 a month for that sort of thing is not easily available. So go to YouTube now, get all that stuff while you can, and check out some of their teams. It's good stuff out there. But anyway, going on to the last three players I wanted to talk about, we'll kind of run through them as quick as I can. Foster Langsdorff, he made his first appearance in the first half against Monarchs SLC. Teaser, spoiler, it was not good. And then he subbed on versus Tulsa. I think, I guess I said before, the 60 some odd minute, and played from there on. Also, not good. And I need to see more.
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen a full 90 out of him, to be fair. He is also absolutely a rookie, and I know a lot of those times players that spend all 4 seasons in college soccer, it gets a little bit rough making that jump. And I think the club actually understands that, because they're not starting him, playing him full 90. They're working him into it. Played him 45 minutes, then played him a little under 30. I think we'll probably see. I think I'm okay.
Don't die on me, man.
Okay, so like I was trying to say, I think we'll start to see more of him, and then maybe once in the next 3 games, we might see him play all 90. Again, which is fine. I like how they're doing that. I need to see him improve each game. Now, in the first 45 against Real Monarchs, he was completely invisible. And honest to God, I didn't even know he was playing until I saw he subbed out at half. And I was like, oh, that's not good. Now, I paid more attention in the Tulsa match and saw him, so he did an improvement there. But he didn't get any goals against the Tulsa side that we probably should have gotten a goal against. And other than running around a lot, I don't know where exactly he subbed on at in positional wise. I don't know if he was playing a winger or a forward or some sort of attacking midfielder. So it was really, I don't want to discredit him for just kind of running around and not really being in the right place at the right time. But it felt like he was not in the right place at the right time. So in this as few minutes as I've seen him, I am not impressed. But I think that and so yeah, obviously he needs to improve. I'm sure there's plenty of room to improve.
Yeah, there's a lot of time left in the season too.
Yeah, because he was fantastic at Stanford, and I think he's a fantastic talent. And I think it'd be nice to see a homegrown player who's quite frankly better than Jordan Morris will ever be anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I think we'll just gotta wait and see. But right now, so far, not so good. Other two players I want to talk about: Eric Williamson, who's also technically a homegrown player, because we traded for DC's homegrown player rights to sign him as a homegrown player for Timbers, even though he's never lived in Oregon. Love you, MLS. Love you. He seems to be a very good talent in midfield. It seems to be playing primarily attacking midfield. He kind of seems to be in that position that we used to have Villian Bijev in, and I think that there's a very solid base for him to build upon. He's obviously talented. Of course, he's in the U.S. under 20s with Ebobisi, and so of course those two link up very well. But I think he's got the talent. I see the talent there. He's got. I think he's going to be a very good midfielder. Hasn't done anything like too impressive, but from basically what I see, I just see like he's playing solidly, consistently. It's good to see from the midfield, and I think given time, he could be very, very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I see a high ceiling for him. It's basically what I'm trying to say. Right now, it's okay, but man, some of the things I've seen from him, little tiny flashes. If those become bigger flashes, he might start to attract some attention. And if he actually turns that into a solid performance, then oh boy, watch out. I mean, this kid could be good. Does well to link up with the attackers, so that's what I like to see. And then Victor Arboleda, he appears to be developing very, very well. I mean, with Tulsa, if you watch the Tulsa match, everything T2 threw at Tulsa went through him. Obviously, he had 8 of the 18 shots, only one of which was on goal, so that was poor. But he was involved. He was attacking. He's not getting offsides. I don't think there was that many offsides, if any at all. Let's see, Tulsa. Only one offside. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't even think that was Arboleda. So Arboleda is doing very well. And that's not even just Tulsa. The other games where he's been loaned down, he's been doing fantastically. And looks like he's making that right now. He seems to be right at the cusp of that level where USL is not going to be good enough for him. It's that precipice of I'm better than USL, but maybe not exactly MLS ready yet. But there's not too far from going from I'm better than everyone else in USL to I can now start contributing to the first team. So keep an eye on Victor Arboleda because he is progressing very well. I'm excited. I like what I've been seeing from him the past 2 games. Despite the fact he only got 1 shot on goal, he can improve there, obviously. But he's a winger, so I mean, try not to give him too much crap for that. But yeah, watch Arboleda. I think he's going to be making that transition very soon, and that's only good news for fans of Arboleda and for the first team depth. So definitely keep an eye on that. So again, Abobasi level, Jadama up, Batista up, Langsdorff down, Williamson level, kind of based on where my expectations were, and Arboleda way up. And then we'll kind of go through more players. Again, some of the same players, some different players. We'll keep going through, checking that out. And that's about it for T2. Josh, any PDXFC or the 4th Division soccer news people should know about?
Yeah, so I wanted to maybe touch on Timbers under 23s before I get into PDXFC. So Timbers under 23s they have their preseason tournament, which I may have mentioned the last episode. So they're going to play on April 28th against Twin City Union FC. And then the Timbers under 23s will also play on May 6th against either PDX FC or South Sound FC as sort of to wrap up their preseason. But just 2 days later, Timbers under 23s will play in a U.S. Open Cup first round match against Kitsap Pumas. So the Kitsap Pumas were a longtime rival of the Timbers under 23s in the PDL. Just 2 years ago, Pumas moved over to the NPSL, where they summarily won their division and qualified for the U.S. Open Cup. So Kitsap Pumas have a hell of a pedigree. Their owner was a former minority owner of the Seattle Sounders, and then once they sold that club, once he got bought out for his rights to the Sounders, he went and started Kitsap Pumas. And so we're talking the Timbers under 23s and Kitsap Pumas, who are sort of the heir to the S under 23s. They're loaded with Sounders under 23s players. So you've got a bit of a Cascadia rivalry going on here. Just on May 8th, tickets are available now at the Timbers U23.com. The match will be played May 8th at 7 p.m. at McCullough Stadium in Salem. And that's really interesting news because so PDX FC may end up being Timbers under 23's opponent in that last preseason match, right? And then Timbers under 23s play on May 8th as in the USOC, in the US Open Cup, right? And then on May 12th, Kitsap Pumas has to come back down to Portland to open their season against PDXFC at Hilton Community Stadium at Concordia University. So that will be an interesting way for PDXFC to open their season, a home match against Kitsap. And Kitsap will have been only on just a couple days rest after playing against the Timbers under 23s. So there's a lot of relationships, interwoven between all the teams in the Pacific Northwest. So look for those Timbers under 23s. Always well worth the cost of admission to go watch those guys play. I think three of the players from last season made it up to the USL from that Division 4 level all the way up to the D2 level. Kind of helps that there's no current Division 3 level, but they're building that. We can talk about that another day. I've got some PDXFC player announcements. Some really interesting players. Frankie Lopez of McMinnville High School won MAC High's only state championship. Formerly a player for Jaguares de Chiapas, former Timbers under 23, former Sounders under 23 player. Frankie Lopez is re-signed with PDXFC for the year. Eric Urzua of Concordia University signed with PDXFC. Jordan Baeza of Westside Metros and University of Portland is signed. Jerson Mejia of Clark College and Timbers under 23s is signed with PDXFC. And really interesting and exciting here is an 18-year-old Miguel Carrillo of Centennial High School. He was the 2018 Oregon All-State on the All-State team and made the Mount Hood Conference Defensive Player of the Year. This is a guy that I honestly don't know why he's not in the Timber system. It could be, just the luck of the draw that we ended up with Miguel Carrillo at PDXFC for a season. So these guys, they're all young players. They've been in and out of the Timbers program or Westside Metros program. They're all local collegiate and high school players. It's going to be really interesting to watch them take on Kitsap Pumas on May 12th. And so we can talk some more about that as we get closer. And then I just got word from the PDXFC's front office that there may be a kit release. Look for some kit leaks over the weekend. There may be a release next week. It looks like they announced their affiliation with Hummel. And Hummel is sort of like the Danish Nike, if you will, very popular with community-driven football clubs. So
I real quick, I find it funny that you mentioned I heard from the PDXFC front office.
Yeah.
And well, you heard from yourself?
No. I'm not the only one.
I know you're not the only one.
Yeah. No, they basically told me, hey, Josh, the kits you designed are in. So they'll be in over the weekend. I'm going to take a look at them on Saturday. I'm going to take a picture of them, and I may do some kit leaks if the boss says it's good. It says it's good to go. I am not the boss. I just I really like the team, so I'm doing what I can. That's
not the boss. You've just redesigned them to be super awesome this year, and
yeah,
I've seen perhaps maybe seen something, and all I can say is it is hot.
We're gonna give you what somebody else wouldn't give you.
Yeah, damn, skip it.
Yeah, and then along with that shirt, I think the final product of that shirt. So this will just be the prototype that we're gonna do take some pictures of. But I think once the Portland community, the general public, kind of sees who our sponsor is, I think if we pull off what I'm hoping to pull off on the sponsor deal, which is not announced yet, otherwise I'd be less coy about it. I think it'll go a long way to tell everybody what our club is about. I'm really excited about that. And I think that I'll just say that buying a PDXFC jersey will actually give back to your community. So it's a low price point to begin with, and then a portion of the shirt will go to our sponsor rather than our sponsor paying us. So I think it'll be really fun to see if we can get that going. We want to give back to the community, and I'm excited to announce more PDXFC stuffs plural the next time we talk.
Absolutely. So again, keep an eye on us. Follow play the kids. For this type of news. Follow Josh on Twitter. We'll go through all that in just a minute. We are almost done. The only thing we've got left are we got 2 matches coming up that we will be discussing on the next episode. This Saturday, the day after this episode comes out, T2 are still in Oklahoma. They go from Tulsa to Oklahoma City. Saturday, April 7th at 5 p.m. our time, the right time. Taft Stadium, T2 will play against Oklahoma City Energy. I don't really have any expectations for this game. OK City Energy is probably going to win 1-0. Might be a 1-1 draw. We'll have to see.
I don't know. I think what I've got is I think they won their first match, and then they've kind of gone on and they've lost 3 in a row.
Well, Orange County came through and did the exact same road trip, just backwards.
Yeah.
They beat OKC Energy 1-0 and then beat Tulsa 5-0. I was hoping for something similar with T2, but with a 0-0 draw already, I don't see how it goes. But either way, catch that game. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, catch it tomorrow. To us, it's the day after tomorrow, 5 p.m. YouTube it. It's always streamed, timbers.com/T2. The game after that we will then discuss is going to be the first home opener. That's Wednesday, April 18th, 7 p.m. at the most glorious Merlot Field. T2 will host the Rio Grande Valley FC Toros. That's got to be a game where we've got to get some points out of. Go and catch that. I think Merlot Field's going to probably be hopping. Certainly it's going to be a lot. I think it's going to be like what it was before. There'll probably be about 1,000, 1,500 people there. It's going to be good.
Should be a great crowd. I mean,
think it'll be a fantastic crowd.
Yeah.
And since that is the week that we record anyway, it's entirely possible, if things work out, that Josh and I might do our episode that week live. We'll see.
Yes.
We'll see how it goes. I mean, not like live, because it'll still come out on Friday.
We will record from there.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. But either way, so the next episode we will be talking OKC Energy and Rio Grande Valley, and then looking ahead to 2 more home games after that. We'll be hosting Reno 1868 FC and then Sacramento Republic. All home games, I think, games and opponents we can get points against. So we'll see. That is it from us. You can find us online, Twitter, PTK, PDXFC, Stumptown Footy, USL Show. So Josh is at Joshua R. Duder. I am at K McCamish PDX. You can find us at PTK Podcast, at Stumptown Footy, as I'm on there tweeting the T2 matches, at the USL Show. I am a co-host there. You DM them, they will get that message to me. And I think that's it. We have playthekids.com. We're on the Beautiful Game Network, so definitely check that out. Certainly thanks to our sponsor, Roughneck Scarves, official scarf supplier of MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. And thanks also to the Beautiful Game Network, where you can find us on bgn.fm or playthekids.com. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all the other amazing podcasts on our network. Not just us, not just the USL Show, but Mongols, like I had mentioned, Raising Bulls. I think Rising as One is another great one. Too many to mention, honestly. There's we now are up to 20, I think, different USL podcasts, something crazy like that, which is almost enough. We could probably almost fill their entire conference with just podcasts. So check all that out. Again, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you again in 2 weeks.